Oh, hey player. In this video, I'm going to show how you can tell if a girl is DTF on Tinder. Also, I'm going to break down the 4 types of girls that you'll find on online dating apps, showing you how to differentiate between each kind so that you can focus your time and energy on a girl who's looking for the same thing as you are. As previously mentioned, there are generally 4 types of girls that you'll find in the gray world of online dating. First up, you have the explicitly DTF girls. These are the girls who are on Tinder or dating apps to find a fuck buddy or have a one-night stand. They are upfront about what they want and how they want it. They're also generally very sex positive and have zero hang-ups about admitting their desire to get laid. This is the category of girls that is most likely to message you first, send you a nude, and come straight to your place. The downside is that these girls can be a bit flaky. They're also the smallest percentage of girls that you will match with, depending on your profile and area, probably between 5 and 25%. And lastly, with them, you're likely to encounter a now or never type of situation where the girl wants to fuck the night that she's horny, and if you can't meet her that night, then she disappears. Now, this is not going to be the majority of time, but it will happen sometimes with girls in this category. Now, let's take a look at 2 examples of girls who fall in the explicitly DTF category. First is a girl who I matched with on Tinder back when I used to live in LA, and I open her with, "Hey trouble." She says, "Hi," smiley face. I say, "How's your morning going?" She says, "It's alright, it's payday lol, so I'm having a ball right now. How about you?" So far, there really isn't any indication of where she's at. Again, I'm just feeling her out, getting the convo going. Typically, it's not going to be something big in her profile or, anything she says right away. It'll typically be something that, a few messages in, you'll kind of get a feel for it. Not always. Sometimes an explicitly DTF girl will just straight up message you, "Hey, you're hot, want to hook up." But more often than not, it's going to be more like this, where you kind of build up a little bit and you feel the girl out. So then I say, "Nice, you're going to take me out on a big date with all that money?" And she says, "Lol, you should take me out." I say, "Perhaps. What are you doing up past your bedtime anyway?" She says, "Lol, I do not have a bedtime, boo." And so we kind of build up a good flirty vibe. So this allows me to send the next text. And I know that if she is explicitly DTF, then she's going to bite on it. And if she's not, she's still going to find it funny. So the text is, "Girl, your bedtime is when I say it is." And she writes back, "Yes, daddy." This is the text I was hoping for. And so I say, "Good girl, what are you looking for on here?" And she says, "I'm looking for fun. What about you?" And this pretty much cements it. We know she's in the explicitly DTF category. She has no hang-ups. She's upfront about what she wants when I ask her. And also, it's a girl where time was not a factor. So meaning I wound up meeting her about a month after this conversation took place. She was just a girl who was looking for a fuck buddy and didn't feel ashamed about it, which she should not. So second example is another girl who I hooked up with back when I used to live in LA. This is actually a pretty funny story. It was supposed to be a threesome, but then my girl who I was seeing at the time, other girl, flaked last minute, so me and this girl just wound up having a night of solo kinky sex. And you can find that on Playing with Fire website under lay reports, love reports now. So I open her with a good old "Hey trouble," and she says, "What up?" I say, "Making dinner, how about you?" She says, "Watching It's Always Sunny." And that's one of my favorite shows. So if you guys are a fan of this, you'll understand my next reference when I say, "Day man, fighter of the," and she says, "Night man," exclamation point. I say, "Champion of the sun, you are," and she says, "Master of karate and friendship for everyone." So yeah, it's just an Always Sunny reference that anyone who watched the show will get. And then I say, "Can you seductively whisper that in my ear?" Because I'm not going to just fucking ramble about the show indefinitely. Now I'm going to transition into something more personal and sexual. And she says, "I'll sing it." So now that, we built up a little bit of banter, now I'm going to just kind of get a feel for what exactly she's looking for. So I say, ever so smoothly, "So, what are you looking for on here?" Back then, this was a few years ago, so my text game wasn't quite as polished in those days. And she says, "Hookups, LOL. This is a fuck app." And I love that answer because she's just really upfront. She's not hiding what she wants. She's like, "Yeah, this is a fuck app. Like, why else would you be here?" So this is a perfect example of an explicitly DTF girl. In this one, also time was not a factor. I wound up meeting her a few weeks after this conversation took place. And actually, she was my booty call, I think, for a few weeks or something like that. I wound up seeing her, I know, a few times after that. The second category of girls that you're likely to stumble upon is the implicitly DTF girls. Now, these girls might want to hook up just as badly as the girls in the first category, but difference is they're not going to be upfront about it. They might hint at it, or they might even say that they're not sure what they're looking for if you ask them. They might give you a vague answer. They might even have no hookups or no one-night stands in their profile. This is why reading a girl's profile doesn't really tell you much either way. The good thing is that you're much more likely to stumble upon these girls than you are girls in the first category. They will usually be much better majority of your matches. If you live in Latin America or Eastern Europe, these girls are going to be the overwhelming majority. If you live in like a really liberal area like Scandinavia, it might be a little bit more balanced. But either way, you're going to get a lot of girls who fall into this category because of social conditioning. Now, let's take a look at examples of girls who fall into this category. First up, you have a girl who I hooked up with when I was in Romania. I opened her on Tinder with, "Are you in Bucharest?" She says, "Yes." I say, "Cool, just flew in 2 nights ago." She says, "From?" And I say, "LA, you ever been?" And she says, "Nope," strategically forgetting the E. So far, she's really not giving me much. Some people might jump to the conclusion that she's a time waster, but there really isn't enough information yet to conclude that. So I want to just keep feeling her out, keep bantering and seeing where it goes. So I say, "You're small, I can smuggle you in my suitcase." She says, "Haha, we could try." I say, "Sounds romantic. Do you like wine?" She says, "Sometimes it gets me dizzy too fast." I say, "I'll cut you off after a few sips." Again, just bantering, kind of getting a vibe going. And she says, "Promises, promises." So here I want to change gears a little bit. You know, she's not really investing that much, but I kind of want to get a feel for why she's on Tinder and just really see if this girl is on the same page as me. So I say, "What are you looking for on here?" And then I insert her name. And she says, "Tough question, to be honest." So unlike girls in the first category, she didn't just say, "Yeah, I'm on Tinder to hook up," or "Yeah, you know, I want to get laid." She gave me a very vague answer. You know, that means she's implicitly DTF. She really does not want to be upfront about her intentions because of social conditioning. So I kind of press the question a little bit more and I say, "You can do it." And she says, "Not making plans, where the wave takes me." And this solidifies it. You know, she didn't say something like, "Oh, I'm on here to find a boyfriend," or, you know, anything, you know, "I'm not into one night stands," you know, something serious. You know, she because that's not what she wants. You know, she did want to hook up, as I learned, you know, during our first date, but she really just did not want to be upfront about that. Let's take a look at a second example now. This is a girl who I met when I was on a family vacation in San Juan. So I open her with, "Hey, trouble," and she says, "Hey." I say, "How goes that Tuesday?" She says, "Doing some stuff at home because I have a cold, lol. And yours?" I say, "Good, just flew into Puerto Rico. Going to take a shower and explore." She says, "Haha," with a thumbs up and a smiley face. I say, "You should be my sexy tour guide." So now I'm kind of amping it up a little bit. You know, the first screenshot was mostly mundane shit. Now I'm going to make the conversation a little bit more emotionally engaging. So she says, "Hee hee hee," and I send her a funky emoji of a dragon. I don't know why I sent that. And she says, "Hee hee 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 hee," with a thumbs up. And now I'm going to kind of get a feel for why she's on Tinder. So I say, "What are you looking for on here?" And then I insert her name. And then she says, "Meeting new people, having new experiences." So this is also something that implicitly DTF girl might say. Again, notice how she didn't say, you know, a relationship or, you know, "I'm definitely not looking for a one night stand." You know, she just gives a pretty vague roundabout answer. But the key thing that she says is having new experiences. So she doesn't outright say, you know, "I want to have sexual experiences." But if you read between the lines, that's probably what she's getting at. The third category of girls who you're going to come across are the dating and relationship oriented. These are the girls whose primary motivation is not sex. They are on dating apps to either find a boyfriend or maybe even a future Tinder husband. Some of them might be really prude. Other ones may have been in the first 2 categories earlier in their lives, but now are looking for a relationship before they really want to do anything sexual. Now, the thing you gotta keep in mind is that it's not really black and white. It's more of a spectrum. So some girls might be, you know, in between the implicitly DTF and the relationship category. Other girls might be very much looking for a boyfriend, but if they find a guy who they think is really hot or just runs really solid game, they might hook up with him while they're still searching for their future boyfriend. Let's take a look at what a text exchange with a girl in this category might look like. Now, truth be told, I honestly usually screen these girls out pretty fast, and I couldn't find any in my recent history because I also reset my Tinder quite recently. So I had to ask my buddy for his profile. He opened a girl with "Hey, trouble," and then she didn't respond. That opener was probably too much for her. And then he double texted her a few days later, actually a few weeks later, with "What happened to our love?" And then she just says, don't know, with a funky emoji. And then he says, I have an idea. She says, what idea? And then he says, our romantic date. She says, and what's the idea? He says, you, me, wine, my charm, your cute smile. I'll grab your hair by making a fist and pull it so your neck is exposed, gently kiss it, and then bite it a little. Now, some of you guys might say, well, this text is a little bit forward. I do agree to an extent. It's probably not the smoothest way to escalate, but if he was texting a explicitly DTF girl, she'd be all over that. And if he was texting an implicitly DTF girl, she might have responded, haphazardly about it, but still would have been a better response than what he got, which was, I'm not interested, thanks. And so he was a little bit perplexed by this answer, and he said, just you, me, and my charm then. We can leave the rest for after marriage. And she just writes back, lol. He says, oh, question mark. And then she says, what are you looking for? Why do you use this app? Why are you texting me? I'm not interested in sex or flirting or whatever it is. Because your words sound strange. You gotta keep in mind, this is also in Eastern Europe, so there's a little bit of a language barrier. But that pretty much sums up at, what a dating and relationship-oriented girl who's a bit more on the prude side would respond. She's just gonna get turned off by anything that sounds even remotely sexual. And while an implicitly DTF girl might be neutral about it or might be a little sly, this girl will just straight up be like, "What the fuck are you saying?" As if you showed her like a piece of rotten meat. And last but not least, we have the girls who fall into the time wasters category. These are the girls who are on Tinder to either get more Instagram followers or just get validation. They have no intention of meeting up with you or anyone, no matter how good your game is. These girls will typically respond with brief one-word answers and immediately drop off as soon as you try to make plans. Now, these girls you sometimes might be able to tell by their profile because they'll just have something brief like add me on Instagram, absolutely zero bio. Again, don't let that completely convince you the girl's a time waster. You still want to text her a bit and kind of feel her out. But sometimes, they might have a normal bio, but as soon as you start messaging them, they'll give you one-word answers, and then when you try to meet up, they'll just completely drop off the face of the earth. And you can't blame yourself with these girls because they really are not going to meet up with anyone. They have no intention to. And the best thing you can do is just figure out that she's a time waster and not waste your time on that. Let's take a look at an example of two girls who fall into this category. First up, you have a girl whose bio just has her Insta. And that doesn't always mean the girl is a time waster, but, it increases the likelihood by a lot. But you still have to do your due diligence. So my buddy messages her with swipe right for possibly nice booty, and she just writes back with 2 emojis. He says, am I wrong, question mark, and she doesn't write back. He gives it a few weeks and double text her with, and the best texting award goes to ... And then she just straight up says, got me, I'm not on here a lot. And he says, have you ever met a guy from Tinder? And she doesn't write back. So again, this girl is clearly a time waster. She even admits it. She says, I'm not on here a lot, which translates to, I have no intention of meeting up with anyone from Tinder. And the best thing you can do is, my buddy did his, he kind of fielded the girl out. He figured out what category she's in. There's no point in wasting any more time, with this interaction. Let's quickly take a look now at a second example. This girl does not have her social media in the bio. She just has a one line, something random. So, this is a little bit of a better sign, but, still, if a girl is like really not putting anything in her bio, it could mean that she just doesn't know what to say, which is quite common, but also it kind of increases the likelihood of a girl being a time waster. So my buddy opens her with swiped for possibly nice booty, and then she just sends him a GIF. He says, it's okay, I'm sure you make up for the good personality, and she writes back with another GIF. So he says, use your words. If the girl's not a time waster, typically she will be like, haha, okay, I was kidding. But she sends him another GIF, and then he says, I wish I could send my meme about spanking the bradness out of you. And what does she do? She writes back with another meme. He says, stop it, you're turning me on with all these amazing memes. And she sends another meme. And he says, oh yeah, I know what we're gonna do on our romantic date, and she doesn't respond. So again, this is a girl who's really not serious about, having any kind of interaction with anyone on Tinder. She's basically trolling. She's probably on Tinder for validation or whatever, so really no point in wasting any time on her as well. In summary, these are the 4 types of girls that you're gonna come across on dating apps. And it's really helpful to be able to differentiate between which category of girl you're talking to. If it's a girl who's explicitly DTF, then you don't want to be wishy-washy about sexualizing or escalating. If she asks you, like, oh, what are you going to do to my tight little body? You don't want to be like, oh, let's have some wine first and I'll tell. You want to be able to show her that you can give her what she wants. And also you have to be able to kind of figure out if it's a now or never thing. If she's messaging you at 2 or 3 a.m. and she's really pushing for that same night meet, then chances are it's either you got to bang her that night or you're never going to see her again. But more often than not, that will not be the case. The girl's just upfront about what she wants and she's open to meeting you at numerous times. If it's a girl who's implicitly DTF, then you don't really want to push the sexual thing that much. You want to be able to kind of hint at it and be kind of imply without being ever so explicit about it. These girls, if you just keep hammering and hammering the sexual thing, they might get turned off because they find it a little cliche or tacky. Not so much because, they're opposed to the idea. They just don't really like a guy who's just constantly talking about how he's going to fuck her. They want a guy who can, smoothly show them. And with these types of girls, the best thing you can do is just invite them over for a bottle of wine. Some of them might come straight to your place, but it's not going to be to test out your oral skills. It's going to be to have a drink or two. And then, with these girls, they are probably going to be just as DTF as the girls in the first category, but you're going to have to do that in person. If it's a girl who falls in the dating and relationship category, then you really just got to figure out if you're actually looking for that. And if you are, great, you can start a relationship with her. If not, then, probably better not to, waste both of your guys' time and just move on. And if it's a girl who's a time waster, then, you don't even want to waste any time on that. These girls are not going to meet up with you for any reason. So the best thing you can do is unmatch. Hopefully you guys found this video valuable. Most of the screenshots I used as examples are actually available on the Playing Fire website, playingfire.com/love reports, and you can see the full version from start to finish if you're curious. And also, we have recently put out a free Tinder ebook, which covers everything A to Z. It's basically a much more condensed, less comprehensive version of the online dating blueprint, but it's absolutely 100% free, and we're going to link that in the description below. So make sure you hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications. Thank you for watching. Till next time.